Welcome to What's the Finish, our weekly podcast where we talk to experts and individuals just like you to discuss not only the flavors and finishes of spirits and foods, but also all the flavors life has to offer, along with the magnificent finishes they bring. So join our host, David Afariat, as he asks the question, what's the finish?
Hello, everyone. My name is David Afariat, and this is What's the Finish podcast, our regular show about wine, food, and the flavors of life, and how it all finishes. I am thrilled to welcome a very special guest, a European guest, a Frenchman who will talk with us today about his tastes and passions for the flavors of life. I am so pleased to welcome William Goetz to our show today. William, hi, how are you? And tell us where you're calling from, please.
Hi, David. I'm calling from Clamart. C'est une petite ville au sud de Paris, en région parisienne.
So, coming from the south part of France, I imagine, a south part of Paris, I imagine that you visit Paris often. And what you don't have to answer immediately, but what I would like for us to, one of the last questions I will ask is, what are some of your favorite places to eat when you are in when you return to Paris? So we'll talk about that. But
Okay.
yeah, so it is a pleasure to speak with you, William. And tell me a little bit about how did your journey into wine begin, and what is it that maybe a specific memory or event that inspired your interest in wine? Parlons un petit peu pour nous.
A good friend introduced me to the pleasure of tasting about 15 years ago. En fait, il organisait des soirées de dégustation à l'aveugle, blind tasting.
Oh, blind wine tastings, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And a friend of yours introduced you to this.
Yeah. And you know, the principle was everyone had to bring a bottle and write a description of their wine in advance based on the information they found on the internet. And we then played like a detective to find which wine the description matched.
That's fantastic. And quick background: tell us, is your passion for wine part of your job, or is it a hobby? If it's a hobby, how much does it consume your life outside of work?
I think it started as a hobby, but now I'm trying to work in the wine business. So oui, j'ai beaucoup essayé de déguster des vins, de me faire le palais, comme on dit en français. Et après, maintenant, j'ai vraiment tellement d'intérêt que j'ai envie de travailler pour accompagner les vignerons.
Very good, very good. So to actually work in the vineyards is your goal, and work for a chateau or a domaine.
Exactly.
C'est ça? D'accord.
Mm.
Very, very good.
In the marketing area, you know, it's more to help them with their digital strategy or something.
Ah, very good. And is that part of your background as well, digital marketing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, excellent. So I think it's very fascinating for others to hear how people from France actually nurture their passion and their curiosity around wine. So already it's interesting to know that a friend introduced you to wine through blind tastings, and now, as with anything, it's become more of a passion, and you want to apply your skills toward that. I think is great. Let's start with maybe some more basic questions. What kind of wines of France, or perhaps outside of France, do you enjoy the most? Is it red? Is it white? And then what region most appeals to you?
I think for a long time I thought I was a red wine person, probably out of a cultural and familial background, because as a child I mostly saw red wine uncorked at the table to accompany a nice piece of meat, for example. But when I think about it, I think white wine gives me the more emotions, and I like the floral and buttery aromas of a well-aged Burgundy, for
Hmm.
instance, or the acidity of a nice Chenin de Loire, or the exotic touch of a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think I'm as a matter of fact more of a white wine person.
Ça se trouve souvent le vin de la Nouvelle-Zélande en France. Ouais.
Oui, oui,
Je-
oui, de plus en plus, je pense que avant c'était un peu difficile et on avait l'image du Sauvignon blanc de Loire, hein, de Sancerre, ou
Bien sûr.
et, euh, et en fait on s'est pris vraiment, je pense dernièrement, de passion un peu pour ce Sauvignon un peu exotique et on le trouve assez facilement maintenant. Il est assez réputé en France.
Excellent. Sometimes it's very hard because I don't even realize we're speaking in French, but we're speaking in French. And just for the audience, that answer was the question. Can you find New Zealand wines easily enough in France? And the answer was at the beginning, no. And then more recently, yes. And you also ticked off some French, areas where Sauvignon Blanc is made in France, and then the appearance of more and more New Zealand, which I think is a good thing. So, thank you for that. Let's see what. So let's hear from you for our audience. What advice would you give our audience about how to enjoy and appreciate wine, especially given how your original blind tasting introductions to it, and now your experience helping wineries with their digital marketing? How would you convey that marketing message to a friend? Let's say to a friend that was trying to learn more about wine and now came to you as you came to your friend years ago.
Hmm. Euh, je pense que pour bien déguster un vin, il
On
faut
va
surtout
essayer quand
prendre.
même de parler en anglais celui-là.
Ok, ok.
En réponse.
Okay, okay, pas de problème. I think to appreciate
Ouais.
the wine tasting, you have to take your time and create an appropriate uh, moment to tasting.
Mm.
For me, tasting means feeling sensations like visual, olfactory, um, with the tongue too, etc. So it's leading to mental pictures. So when I taste the wine, I'll try to picture um, uh, what kind of a wine it can be, and
Mhm.
I I think this picture will gradually evoke memories, and I think it's really important to think the wine tasting as a portion of memories,
Wow.
and something like that.
Wow. So just to explore that a little bit more, you're saying that when you're tasting, your eyes may close and you go to a visual representation of what the wine is and the wine's sensations are creating inside of you. And if that means a particular memory of being at the beach, might it be more tropical notes that you're tasting, or if it's by the
Exactly, it can
fire,
be a landscape.
uh,
It can be
a great
somebody,
meal? Uh-huh.
or a meal. It can be, it's like an association of ideas, and I think it really depends on the wine. Lately, for instance, I tasted a wine from Saumur Champigny, So I have this picture of a
Yes.
very strict lady, but also very intellectual. And inside, she was really warm-hearted, you know. And so, for instance, for this kind of Cabernet Franc, I had this picture when I tasted this wine from, I think it's from Domaine des Roches-Neuves,
Uh-huh.
Thierry Germain. And yeah, so it can be that, or sometimes it's like a forest. You know, there is a great manga. Maybe
Yeah.
you know this manga. In French, it's Les Gouttes de Dieu, Drop of
Oui,
Gods.
c'est ça, les gouttes de Dieu. Oui, oui, les
Ouais,
drops of God. Oui, l'image. So we're talking about drops of God, and when from that episode in that series, when the young woman tastes the wine, I found it fascinating that there were these splashes of color, in her mind that were
exactly.
creating a sensation for her. And your description reminds me of that visual way that they were describing how she was reacting to the wine.
Mm.
And yours is slightly different in that more than just colors, it's bringing actual memories and or situations where this wine would fit
Yeah,
either inside the memory of a dish, a place visited, a person met, or even yeah, I think that's a pretty amazing way of describing it. And if it's not everyone's reaction to wine, it certainly is. It certainly is an interesting one to explore and to have you explain. So thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. That's it's very interesting. And I think for everyone listening, it is important to stop and to really think about what is the sensation happening to you when you drink the wine. And if you're present enough and you let your mind wander for an instant or two to best describe your reaction, I think imagery does play a part, quite a significant part. And then you just have to be able to describe what it is your subconscious has associated with the sensation,
And I
and you
think
describe it.
it's both a good way to relax and enjoy the wine without studying in a way, just being and enjoy the wine. And I think it's really great to remember the sensations. And so it's a good way to contemplate things. It works with wine, but it works with many things. I think it's just a state of mind. But wine is really a good tool to take time to be connected with others and with our inner spirits.
Yes, couldn't agree more with you, William. I think you nailed it. I think we could almost end there. It's such a fine and wonderful point. Um, wow. So let's see. Yeah, I think I'd like to end it right there. I think this was a fascinating conversation, William, and I certainly appreciate you've taught us something, and you've taught us this pretty amazing way of approaching wine, which I'm thankful for, and
Thank you.
I know others who are listening are thankful for. So, thank you for bringing your perception and your ability to explain even in English, quand même.
I'm sorry for
Bravo,
the accent.
monsieur.
Sorry, sorry.
Mais non, l'accent, ça fait du charme quand même, hein, ça fait bien. Donc, je te dis mon chapeau. I'm giving you my hat, and I am saluting your English. It is phenomenal, and so I know that
Thank
our
you.
audience appreciates les deux, and so with with a full glass of gratitude. Thank you so much, William, for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for the
And
invitation.
I almost forgot all these thank yous, and I come back to the question I wanted to ask, which is when you go to Paris, what's your favorite restaurant that you'd like to? Because I'm writing this down and keeping a list. What is your favorite restaurant in
Yes,
Paris?
I think if I have to choose one, it would be the first one that that comes to my mind is L'Oiseau Blanc. It's a really, really beautiful restaurant. You have a view on the Eiffel Tower, and
Wow.
it's 2 stars Michelin. So of course you have to spend a little money, but it's really worth it. It's amazing food and wine is perfect. So yeah, I really recommend this place. Yeah,
So Oiseau Blanc, white bird.
Oiseau
C'est
Blanc.
ça?
Yeah, exactly.
Oiseau Blanc. Okay. You have a runner. So that's a nice one. 2 Michelin star. That's great. Definitely. Thank you. Perfect. Now, if it's just you and friends and you want to be
Mm.
more casual, but it's solid good, where locals might go,
Sure.
what's that restaurant that you'll take people to, or your friends you find yourself in without all of the ceremony?
I must confess, David, that
Moins de théâtre. Ouais.
I must confess that I often go to foreign restaurants. So I have only like Taiwanese food in mind, for instance, or
Yeah.
amazing a Taiwanese restaurant that is named after Chez Ajia. It's really typical Taiwanese food, and I'm just searching for a French one. I think
No,
there
no,
are
no, 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 no. That's even better. Like that's even so. So tap
okay.
if you can to the chat. I want to make sure I get this Taiwanese restaurant. We want that one. That's
The
perfect.
Taiwanese one is in the Marais. It's chez Ajia, and it's really typical Taiwanese street food. So it's really affordable, and the atmosphere of the restaurant is amazing, and the manager is so cool. So I recommend. Yeah, highly
Perfect. So c'est quoi? Comment l'appeler? Comment tu
Ajia, chez
t'appelles?
Ajia, Ajia, c'est Ajia.
A-J-I-A.
Voilà. Mm,
OK. A-J-I-A.
mm.
Très bien. A-J-I-A. Chez
Exactly.
Ajia.
Yeah.
OK. Nickel. Dans le marais. C'est bon. Okay, William, we got everything that we need here. So again, thank you, thank you so much, and très bonne continuation avec ton passion pour le vin.
Merci beaucoup.